I would worry less about the gods and more about the fury of a patient man. Sometimes it's not the gods we should fear, but the people around us. Those who have been wronged or underestimated for too long can be the most dangerous. They have a fury that's been building up inside of them, and when it's finally unleashed, it can be devastating. So, let us not be complacent or arrogant in our dealings with others. Let us not underestimate the power and determination of those who have been wronged. For their fury is like a storm that's been brewing for too long, and when it finally breaks, it will be unstoppable. You see, I guided my fate. I fashioned the course of my life and death. By saying, I guided my fate and I fashioned the course of my life and death, Ragnar is suggesting that he has never been a passive participant in his own life. Rather, he has always been intentional and purposeful in his decisions, and he has accepted the consequences of those decisions. This quote speaks to the idea of personal responsibility and the power that individuals have to shape their own lives. It suggests that we are not simply at the mercy of fate or circumstance, but rather, we have the ability to influence and direct our own destiny. Power is only given to those who are prepared to lower themselves to pick it up. By saying, power is only given to those who are prepared to lower themselves to pick it up, Ragnar is emphasizing the idea that those who are willing to do whatever it takes to gain power are the ones who will ultimately succeed. This may require sacrificing one's pride or dignity, or even doing things that are morally questionable or objectionable. The quote speaks to the idea that power is not a passive quality that can be inherited or bestowed, but rather, it is something that must be actively pursued and attained through effort, determination, and sometimes even compromise. We fight. That is how we win, and that is how we die. By saying, we fight. That is how we win, and that is how we die, Ragnar is suggesting that the act of fighting is not just a means to an end, but rather, it is a fundamental aspect of their way of life. Fighting is both the means by which they achieve victory and the cause of their ultimate demise. The quote speaks to the idea that fighting and violence are inescapable aspects of their world, and that as warriors, they must be willing to fight and risk death in order to achieve their goals. It emphasizes the importance of courage, bravery, and determination in the face of danger and adversity. You and your gods are wrong. By saying, you and your gods are wrong, Ragnar is directly challenging the beliefs of whoever or whatever he is speaking to. He is asserting his own belief system and suggesting that he knows better than they do. This statement is a bold and defiant one, as it puts Ragnar at odds with whoever or whatever he is speaking to. The quote speaks to the importance of personal conviction and the willingness to stand up for one's beliefs, even in the face of opposition or ridicule. It suggests that sometimes it is necessary to challenge authority or tradition in order to pursue one's own path and find personal fulfillment. The world is changing and we must change with it. By saying, the world is changing and we must change with it, Ragnar is suggesting that the only way to keep up with the changes happening around them is to embrace them and evolve alongside them. This may require letting go of old beliefs or ways of doing things and being open to new ideas and approaches. The quote speaks to the idea that change is inevitable and that in order to succeed, one must be willing to evolve and adapt to new circumstances. It emphasizes the importance of flexibility and openness to new ideas and ways of thinking. In my mind, I wish I had never left the farm. By saying, in my mind, I wish I had never left the farm, Ragnar is expressing a longing for the peaceful and uncomplicated life he had before he became a warrior and a leader. He may be feeling overwhelmed by the responsibilities and challenges of his current life, and yearning for a simpler time when things were less complicated. The quote speaks to the idea that sometimes, even when we achieve our goals or reach a position of power or success, we may still feel a sense of longing for a simpler or more innocent time in our lives. It emphasizes the importance of reflecting on our past and recognizing the trade-offs that come with success or achievement. Don't waste your time looking back. You're not going that way. By saying, "Don't waste your time looking back. You're not going that way," Ragnar is suggesting that it is futile to spend time and energy regretting past mistakes or missed opportunities. Instead, he is urging the person to focus on the present and look to the future with optimism and determination. The quote speaks to the idea that dwelling on the past can prevent us from moving forward and achieving our goals. It emphasizes the importance of letting go of regret and focusing on the opportunities and possibilities that lie ahead. In my world, I am constantly torn between killing myself or everyone around me. By saying, "In my world, I am constantly torn between killing myself or everyone around me," Ragnar is suggesting that the pressures of leadership and power can be overwhelming, and that it can be difficult to maintain a sense of balance and control. He may be feeling burdened by the weight of responsibility and the expectations placed on him by others. The quote speaks to the idea that leadership and power can come at a great personal cost, and that those who hold such positions may struggle with feelings of isolation, despair, and inner turmoil. It emphasizes the importance of self-care and seeking support when struggling with mental or emotional challenges. I cannot stop thinking about death. Death intrigues me. The death of children. The death of friends. But my own death continues to elude me. This quote by Ragnar shows his obsession with death and how it intrigues him. He thinks about the deaths of not just enemies or strangers, but also those of children and friends. However, despite this fascination, he cannot seem to come to terms with his own eventual death. This quote shows how Ragnar has a complex and conflicted relationship with mortality. Man is the master of his own fate, not the gods. Ragnar Lothbrok expresses the idea that human beings have the power to shape their own destiny, and that they are not subject to the whims of the gods. He believes that it is through their own actions and choices that people can determine the course of their lives. This suggests that he does not put his faith in a higher power controlling his fate, but rather in his own abilities and decisions. It is one thing to use a weapon, but another to kill. In this quote, Ragnar Lothbrok is reflecting on the difference between using a weapon and actually taking someone's life. It's easy to pick up a weapon and use it, but the act of killing another human being is much more complex and difficult. It requires a level of emotional and psychological preparation that simply wielding a weapon does not. Ragnar is known for his prowess as a warrior, but this quote shows that he understands the weight of the responsibility that comes with taking a life. It also hints at the toll that violence and killing can take on a person's psyche. You do not think like other men. You're unpredictable, and that will serve you well. The quote, "You do not think like other men. You're unpredictable and that will serve you well," is a compliment paid to Ragnar Lothbrok by one of his allies. It suggests that Ragnar's way of thinking is unique and unconventional, and that he has a strategic advantage because others cannot predict his next move. It is a testament to Ragnar's intelligence and ability to think outside the box, which are traits that have made him a successful warrior and leader. This quote highlights the importance of being creative and original in one's thinking, and shows how it can lead to success in challenging situations. Use your anger intelligently, and I promise you, my son, that one day the whole world will know and fear Ivar the Boneless. In this quote, Ragnar is speaking to his son Ivar, who is known as the Boneless due to a physical disability that prevents him from walking. Ragnar is encouraging Ivar to use his anger in a constructive way, rather than allowing it to control him. Ragnar believes that if Ivar can learn to channel his anger intelligently, he will become a powerful and feared figure in the world. This quote reflects Ragnar's belief in the importance of self-control and strategic thinking, rather than simply relying on brute force or instinct.